Letting go of Doug, or AFE, has not been the easiest of things, having to contend with all the switches, all the checklists. So I started developing a checklist of my own to streamline the process. Let's go and check in this video how well it works, or if it works at all. Hang tight, we'll do this. Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you guys know, I am totally enamored by this beautiful plane right here, the DC-6. Been enjoying flying it without the AFE, and I have been following the in-game checklists and whatnot. These things, which is nice, and it's organized, but I figured I think I can improve it. I think I can streamline it more. So what we have right now is actually this list, and in this video we'll be checking it out. This checklist is available for everyone. If you guys want to check it out, go and have a look at the mods list. Link is in the video description. That will lead you to this page, and then from here there will be a link. So if you look under the DC-6 item, there will be the Streamlined checklist link here, which will open up into this checklist. This is the same file actually as the CRJ I made. The CRJ checklist I made, that's streamlined as well. This time this is for the DC-6, no AFE. And what this is for different phases of the flight, you have different checklists, and I try to really minimize it to what you need in the sim. So maybe it's not going to be 100% realistic, but every crucial element for sure will be in here to make sure we don't crash or miss something that is essential. Okay, so you can again check that on your own. You can even check that really literally if you want. But for me, I just go through them, through this list, and then the next column right there. And then you can see there are lines here. Each of these like sections would entail one particular panel. And I try to really group all of the necessary things together, so you only have to go through that panel once. And then you move on, making that some kind of flow, where you really are just going from one panel to the other and eventually finishing everything, right? Anyway, let's give it a go. So let's start things off, making sure that the parking brake is set, and let's go check that the circuit breakers are all up. At least all the relevant ones. These ones are expected to be down, the water heaters and the utility outlets, but everything else should be up. So just scanning through that, making sure everything here is looking good. All right, that's good. All right, so now we proceed with the actual flow. So we start off here in the overhead panel, in the upper overhead panel. Make sure that the water injection pumps are off and that the propeller, emergency propeller de-icer is off as well. That's good on this side. And then moving down here, we check that the battery and ground power is on. Make sure that there is ground power available and enable that so we get that light. We put the lights to steady because we have ground power. Turn on the no smoking and seatbelt signs. Fuel booster pumps are all off. Right, inverters, turn those on. Generators, turn that on. Ignitions, make sure they're all off, looking good. And then we proceed to this window where we have windshield heat. So we check that against the outside air temperature, which is more than 10 degrees. And it says here off above 10 degrees. So we keep that there. Heater is normal. So that's over this side. Everything is system number 1. Cabin heater master, that's what we turn on. You can see the fuel pressure over there for the heater for the cabin is increasing as well, right? And that's good on this side for now. Cool. All right, and then we move here. So here would be all the fluids: anti-icing fluid, oil, pressure, water, hydraulics. Everything looks good. The fuel quantities are correct. Yeah, landing lights are off. Retracted. We open the cowl flaps fully for all the engines. Make sure that the superchargers are low. Yeah, that looks good. And the radios we'll take care of later because we have plenty of things to do while we are waiting for the engine to warm up. Alright, moving to this next one, we set the flight marker, so we will be cruising at flight level 120 today. Let me hold down the shift key here, make it a bit faster if that works. So that's 11, that's 12,000, there we go. And then elevation here at Vasa, it's almost 0, so start marker will be just there. Right, 299er2, looking good. Door warning lights are off, so that's closed. Temperature control, let's put that to 70. You can see the cabin temperature already heating up there. The heater doing its work. AC voltmeter, engine instruments. Here's bus, we have the voltage correct. AC and DC. Looking good right there. Okay, then let's move here to the panel, the front panel. Fire extinguisher handles are all in. Altimeter is set. Good. And then let's move to the pedestal. So we move to the main tanks for all. Make sure that the crossfeed valves are off, the crossfeed switches. Propeller full forward. Throttles number 3 or number 2 auto for the propeller. Either one is fine. And then let me check the checklist. Throttles are around 1/10 to 1/4 open, somewhere like that. Right? And make sure that the fuel oil pressure warning switches, these guys are on, otherwise those won't light up. Cool. Right, moving to the next one. Make sure that the gyro pilot is off. Mixture is in idle cut off, all of them are. Autopilot servos are disengaged right here, it's lowered. Landing gear is down, you can see here, and we have 3 greens. Trim tabs are set, so we can check that 3 times, that the aileron trim is at the 0 position. The elevator trim is over here, right at that elev word. And the rudder trim is zeroed out as well. Looking good. Alright. Good. What else? And then the carb heats are cold and the flaps are up. Cool. Did I miss anything? No, that's all exactly what we need. Alright. Alright, hydraulic system is on as well. There you go. And then aux hydraulic pump, we turn that on. If you can click the switch, there it is. And then we look, verify that the pressure goes up from 2,600 to 3,050 psi. So let's wait for that. While we're waiting for that, let's check that the emergency air brake pressure is at 1,500 plus or minus 50 psi. That looks perfect right there. There you go, 3,050. Looks good. So now we can turn this off and we can make sure that that goes 0 as well. So looking good on that side, actually. And that's it. Wow, that was quick. Yeah, that's the pre-start already. So you only have to go through each window once, mainly. Cool, and now it's already the engine start, where we go and turn on the beacons. Well, we can optionally decide to open our windows to get some nice sounds from the engine, right? Engine selector 3, right? Make sure the boost pump is at low. Double check. So that's the fuel pressure right there. Awesome. Looks good. So now we go start and safety. You can hear it spinning.
6.
At 9 blades, go to both.
12.
Boost prime. There it is. Beautiful. Something is wrong with my views. 1 second, huh? Alright, let's double check here. Oil pressure has climbed. Oil temperature is still cold, but that's going to warm up in a bit. RPM on engine 3. We can afford to probably... No, let's keep it there. Maybe just move forward just a tad. Make sure it doesn't go beyond 1,000 RPMs. while the oil temperature is still cold. Good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to engine 4, fuel pressure. Okay, fuel pressure for number 4. It's there. Let's start engine number 4 here.
3, 6, 9,
9 blades go to both.
12,
Boost prime. Here it's starting off catching. Auto lean. Auto rich. Let's verify. Oil pressure has climbed. Oil temperature still a bit cold. You can see engine 3 here. RPM is reaching 1,000. Let's pull back on the throttles just a tad. Somewhere around that is okay. Yeah, that's perfect. So as the engine warms up, the RPMs climb more and more. Looking good. Alright. Let's go to engine 2. Go to low. Double check that the fuel pressure is there for engine 2. Alright. Start it up.
3, 6, 9,
And blades both.
12,
Boost prime. It caught. It sounds good. Auto lean. Auto rich. Awesome. Verify all pressure, all temperature, RPMs. All looking good. Nice. And last but not the least, engine 1. Okay. Fuel pressure is there for engine 1.
3, 6, 9, 12,
Love that sound. Oil pressure, all temperature, RPMs looking good. You can see the oil temperature for engine 3 is above 40 now. That's what we're looking for. The others are still cold though. So while they're warming up, let's go ahead and enjoy how they look from outside. It's going to get a bit loud, guys. There they are. You can see even the spinning is different because they're currently still at different RPMs as the other engines are still warming up. Quite nice. That level of realism, huh? Cool. Right. So that's working. Let's go and check this out. Turn off the boost pumps. Double check that fuel pressure is still there even without the boost pumps. That's good. And let's go and switch to plain battery now. No need for the ground power anymore. Alright. You can go ahead and remove the GPU. Still have power. That's a good sign. And this is what I mentioned. Let's close this one. While we're waiting, since we'll have some downtime in here while we're waiting for the engines to warm up, might as well take this time to set up everything else, which is in particular turning the radios on, tuning them in, and making sure there is no downtime. Like, instead of tuning this beforehand, we'll do things in parallel, right? Letting the engines warm up and tuning the radios in. So in particular, we are currently at Vasa here in Finland. We'll be headed back to Stockholm. Actually, we'll be flying over it, but eventually we'll be going to Denmark, to Copenhagen. So Vasa VOR is 114.5. Let's put that here. 112.6 would be the next VOR. So in this case, let's do that inverted 112.6, and let's put 114.5 on standby. Good enough to. So here we see, yes, we are tracking, we are receiving VOR 1 already. We'll be doing the 206 course, 206 radial. So outbound radial for that VOR. So let's set here 206. Let's do 19876. That's 206. Good. Right, and you can see the VOR is pointing towards that way, to our 7 o'clock, somewhere there. Good. And with that all done, let's make sure that we have everything set. Okay, transponder. If you are working with ATC, this is the time you would get your clearance, set your squawk code, just invent some random number right now, and later on we'll switch that to altitude reporting. Right? Alright, looking good. And with that, let's double check. Yeah, most of the stuff, most of the engines are now warm enough. Yeah, we should be able to start reversing. Cool. Okay. So let me proceed to that checklist. Alright. Reverse lever as required. Okay, let's do that. Let's release the parking brake. Let's reverse out here. Alright, let's double check that the engine cylinder head temps are okay. Less than 200 degrees, looks good. Cowl flaps are all open. Alright. Now we can make sure that our flaps are set to 20. Indicating right there. Moving. Looks good. It's also the time to disengage the gust lock so that we have control of our yoke here. Check that controls are free and correct. Looking good. Start turning here towards the runway. Runway 34. That looks great. No more warnings. Fuel pressure nor oil pressure. Temps should be all good as well. Yeah, oil temperatures pretty good. Around 70 degrees. Nice. Going through the before takeoff checklist. Flaps 20, gust lock disengaged. Fuel booster pump is at low. Now that one I think can be a bit subjective depending on the conditions. I still have to read up on that in the manual, but for now let's just turn them on. On the safe side, put that on low. Mixture is auto rich. Yes, those are all auto rich already. Nav lights to flashing for our strobes. Transponder set that to altitude reporting. Landing lights you can extend 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. Around 5 seconds for that to extend. Then turn on the landing lights. Good. Now we can set the cowl flaps for takeoff 4 degrees. It's going to be a dry takeoff today. 1 second, just align that properly here. Looking good. I have to go a bit on the dirt here because there is no perfect way towards this runway. Don't mind me. Right, looking good. And let's make sure that the pitot heat is on right before we depart. Looking good right there, and we'll monitor our temperatures accordingly. Double check our weights are... How heavy are we? 85,000. Okay, so it is indeed going to be a dry takeoff. Right at the edge actually. Right? Hold the brakes. Alright. Push the throttles forward, 30 inches, manifold pressure. Harmonics, get out of that zone. 30 inches. Set, stable. Cylinder head temps are holding. Looking good, alright. Moving to 53 inches. Looking good there. Alright, let's set that, leave it there. Cylinder heads are getting hot. Let's get moving, get some airflow in here. But hopefully they hold. We will see. passing the VOR, that's fine. So as we take off, we'll be turning to the left. Alright. 80 knots, check. 100 knots. Rotate. Ever so subtly. Positive rate. Gear up. Pitch for 130 knots. Flaps up. Going to Me-Too power. 48 inches on the manifold pressure. 2600 on the RPM. Starting our turn to the left. Looking good. Starting to pitch for 165 knots. There we go, that's 165. Smooth to climb D10 40 inches. Manifold pressure 2400 RPM. Looking good, cylinder head temps all warm, but not too hot. That's great. Awesome. Alright, let's go through the checklist, make sure I didn't miss anything. Climb power CHTs are good. Let's go and get some more breathing room for those engines. So let's see. Let's move to the climb setting for the cowl flaps here. Maybe one more, just so we can really breathe. Double check that the cylinder head temps are good. Alright, that's looking good. Continue our climb through here. More to the left, more to the left. 203. Right. Actually, might be a bit too much here. Right, what next? Landing lights can go off and then retract it. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. Turn that off. Landing lights should now be fully retracted. Let's continue with the rest of the checklist. Fuel booster pumps can go off. Make sure that we still have fuel pressure. Fuel pressure is A-OK, actually quite on the high end in there. And with that, we can turn off the seat belts as well. Windshield heat, let's double check that we don't need to apply any windshield heat. Yeah, still way above 10 degrees. Right, there it is, the VOR starting in. Let's turn on the gyro pilot and turn to localizer. Okay, so the plane will follow the VOR radial for us. 203 radial, perfect. And we have to make sure, that's something that I always forget still, keep pushing forward on the throttles so that we maintain that 40 inches of manifold pressure, because as we climb, that manifold pressure will steadily lower, so we can push forward more and more. So actually I'll keep my one hand in the throttles just so I don't forget it. I'm also monitoring my airspeed here. Looks like we can afford to climb a lot steeper. We are getting a bit fast. Thank you, Finland. Let's go outside, guys, have a look. Oh, look at that, as the sunlight hits the propellers. Beautiful. Right, super cool. Okay, I'm liking that. What else do we have? Cabin altitude and pressure. Let's double check. So we set Cabin altitude is still at 0. Yes, but you can see the cabin differential pressure. This is the difference in pressure from the outside versus inside the cabin. And as we climb higher, the pressurization is working. You can see that ever so slightly inching its way up. And once it reaches around 5 psi here, then the cabin altitude would start climbing as well to around 2,000 feet based on this diagram. When we're at flight level 120, we should see 2,000 feet here in the cabin altitude. So we'll double check that later, make sure that that's still holding. Looks like I'm losing a bit of airspeed. And the manifold pressure has run away from me again, so it's pushed forward on that. Very nice. Cool. Double check cylinder heads. They are breathing wonderfully. Awesome. Right, let's double check as well on this side. Engine stress visualizer. Carb temps cold, but that's fine. We're climbing. All temperatures are yellow, but that should be acceptable. Okay, we actually don't need the tablet anymore. We should be able to manage without it for the most part. Awesome. And so that's how it goes, guys. So the rest of the flight is also in the checklist. So I've been referring to it the entire time. Mostly referring to it, sometimes memory items. But yes, hopefully that helps you out as well. I will continue the flight along. You guys wish me luck. I might need it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope it becomes useful for you. Let me know if it does, okay? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Clumsy flying, and catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.